Okay, howdy folks. I'm directing this one like Clint Eastwood. And then if you see my elbow in shot, like in Firefox, that's just gonna have to be good enough. We're back again in the car as I try to creep out of here for another Wayhomer review. That's right, not a stayover, it's a Wayhomer. Because I have seen a film and I'm going to tell you about it on my way home. Because, at some point I thought it seemed like a good idea. But, I've talked to my therapist since then and, we're working on it. Anyway, I'm trying to make my way out of here because I am at drive-in, and that's why I'm already in the car and already moving. Instead of staring at you and talking to you. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. So here's how it works for the uninitiated. I have just left the cinema where I have seen a film, and there we go. And I usually, see the film in the cinema back before the apocalypse happened. And, because of the apocalypse, I generally try to wait until stuff gets, to streaming so I can watch it from the comfort of my own couch, despite what some directors might want. And, my mouth is really dry. So yeah. But now, because there are certain films I just can't wait for them to hit streaming, because I'm convinced that, some stuff will get spoiled for me. So I just have to take drastic action, and that drastic action involves basically coming to the drive-in. And the film that we're here to talk about tonight, or we were there, and now we're here, and we're still rolling that direction, we're here to talk about is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Okay, synopsis. Well, we are at, film 78 or something of the MCU. And if I were to try to do a recap of that for you, and then, do one of those cute things where speed the whole thing up to meet, to get down to like maybe 5 seconds or something. If I was doing a Wayhomer and my home was in like Nome, Alaska, and I was driving back there, I could probably pull that off. But we could just take it as read, because it would probably sound something like this. So that brings us to where we are with this film, where we have Stephen Strange, who has, gotten done with the events in Spider-Man No Way Home, which, I'll be vague about, since, I don't know, you may... Technically, I shouldn't have to worry about spoilers for that film, by my own rules, but I'll be, merciful and vague. So, anyway, so we come off of that, and Stephen Strange is minding his own business, being Stephen Strange and all that entails, going to weddings and still trying to live down his one way to deal with Thanos and all that good stuff. And suddenly, pretty much from out of the blue, although we don't see the out of the blue happening, but it's for the most part, consider it red, out of the blue, a young girl shows up, and she's being chased. And this girl has weird, wild powers that are basically up for grabs. And basically, since I try not to go beyond what the trailers show you, the only way not to spoil anything else is to simply say it's going to involve the multiverse, And there's going to be some madness. And then, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say next, hijinks ensue. I mean, that's basically Doctor Strange with the cloak, and Wong is there, and crazy stuff. That's your that's really all you need is a synopsis for a Doctor Strange film. And you kids out there don't appreciate the fact that I can say Doctor Strange film, as in more than one. Go back and watch the TV movie and learn some history. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's your synopsis. There was a bunch of stuff that I was surprised by very early on in the film that seemed like very big things that to talk about more would be spoilery. So, okay. Let me talk about the good stuff first. The good stuff is you've got, Benedict Cumberbatch as Strange, which is just still primo casting. And you've got his kind of supporting cast, Benedict Wong, who's fantastic. You've got, I'm just going to say the new girl, even though it's pretty obvious to anyone who's seen the trailer who she is. They don't say the name, so I'm not going to say the name. And I'm not going to say her real name because I will completely screw it up. I think, if I remember the credits correctly, her last name was Gomez, but I could be completely wrong. So apologies if I got that wrong. And if I did get it wrong, I'll probably insert something up here, bewailing me getting it wrong.
Wait, what?
And again, part of the problem is there are cast members in this, but to speak too much of them would be to give away stuff that they're doing. Because I mean, you're in the multiverse, there's madness, so trailer or not, you can guess that there's probably going to be some alternate versions of other characters from the MCU showing up. So the cast was good. Those of which I can tell you about, those of which I cannot. And it is, I mean, I wonder if I went into this not knowing it was a Sam Raimi film. At what point would I have been able to go, I think this is a Sam Raimi film? Because whereas, I mean, those of us who know Sam Raimi from, his days in horror, I personally, apart from, Bruce Campbell popping up, there wasn't a lot in, say, Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man, the first of, 18 Spider-Man? I don't know. Anyway, there was nothing in the first Spider-Man that made me go, oh, this is Sam Raimi. But this had a very Sam Raimi feel to it, which was pleasing to me, for multiple reasons, because this is essentially going to a director for their strengths. And one thing Sam Raimi is good at, if you have seen the Evil Dead films, is he can get creepy, and he can get horrific, and he can do all this stuff, and he can do it. He doesn't have to be big about it. He doesn't have to be bold about it. He doesn't have to do that thing, which I know, you know what I'm talking about when I say, a klaxon goes off and lights start flashing, and it's basically like the scary part is now. That's nothing like that. And even in bits of this, which are full of magic and weirdness and whatnot, it's still hard to say at what point something's going to happen, because it feels very natural, which is interesting, because a lot of what you're seeing on the screen is decidedly unnatural. But ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls of all ages, and folks, as I say, howdy folks, that covers everybody, Sam Raimi. So I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed, as I said, there's no spoilers, there's the multiverse, you see bits of the multiverse in the trailer. I enjoyed glimpses of the multiverse. Now, since I was at the drive-in, there were probably Easter eggs wazoo of what was happening during sequences of madness in the multiverse, of passing through multiverses, but passing through versus universes in the multiverse. You know what I'm saying? Universi? I don't know. What's the plural? So anyway, so that I really enjoyed. The feel of it I really enjoyed. And I would say, as a comic book movie, it has a lot to recommend it. As a standalone movie, a film, right? To make it sound 8% more snobbish, a film, cinema. I liked it. Here's where I get into some problems, and the problems are also going to be that I can't discuss my problems too openly without ruining everything. So, yes, this is a story with, obviously, demons and eyeballs and crazy stuff happening left, right, and center. One of the things that Marvel does well, normally, is there's the comic book, there's the adventure, there's the whatever else is going on, but it's also a human story. And an important aspect of the human story of what was going on seemed completely lost. Because certain things happened which had incredibly grave consequences. If you think about it, grave, capital G, grave consequences, and that's not a zombie joke. And yet, very little is made of these things which have these consequences. And I found that very troubling. Because certain characters who you would think would react to, and I'm not just, I'm talking about just stuff in general happening. They basically reacted if the plot told them it was okay to react. So in that way, the characters' emotions in this film worked a lot like the Force did for Jedis in the prequel trilogy, which I find, like I said, troubling. Because yes, there are human elements that are there, but they seem, and this is going to sound stupid, because the whole thing comes from a script, but scripted. Like I said, well, this is the point where feelings happen. When part of the thing about Marvel that I enjoy, both in the comics when I read them, and in the films, in the television shows, and tie-in candies and lunchboxes. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. It's the feeling that no matter how crazy this gets, this being, Infinity Stones or androids or alternate versions of yourself or whatever's going on. Very few times do I ever feel like we lose sight of the human element of what's going on. But here I thought we did. And I think the film suffers for it. And I hope that this does not become a habit with MCU films, because the whole franchise would suffer for it. And maybe that's because we were, dipping our toe into the horror genre with this, or the, not even dark fantasy, because we've done that before. You can't get much more dark fantasy than the second Spider-Man film. But no, I felt like there were bits where I was sitting, well, here, where I'm sitting right now. I've been sitting here for a long time. Man, I need to pee. Anyway, so where I was sitting here, just going, what is happening? So, and it happened enough to take me out of the film. And if you've watched enough of these things, you know I really don't want to come out of a film. If I've made the commitment to watching a film, especially if these days I'm driving across town to go find a place where I can watch it from the privacy and security of my own car, despite what some film directors might want, then I really want to enjoy the film. But there are certain aspects of it that I didn't. Like I said, overall, it was just a movie. It was good. As a comic book movie, it was good. I think the problem is, as an MCU movie, as a Marvel movie, that actually has emotions and just isn't splode and, people speaking in gruff Batman-esque voices, I don't think it's as successful. And I'll be happy to be incredibly less vague about that at a point in the future. But unfortunately, for those of you who didn't see it this past weekend, and who didn't come and spoil things for me, thank you. I'm gonna try to keep my mouth shut. I will say this though, speaking of spoilers, small digression, Marvel, for the love of God, would you stop? Would you just stop spoiling stuff in your own movies? I get it. You're trying to get people to come to the movies. At this point, I think people are going to come to the movies. You had us with the trailer. You don't have to reveal characters that are going to show up. You don't have to do anything. You could just leave it. I basically had to disavow all of the Marvel stuff I subscribed to online just to make sure that I didn't get the stuff ruined for me. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing a better job of keeping the lid on this stuff than you are, Marvel. Come on. Anyway, so I know that's an exceptionally vague framework of a review, if nothing else, but unfortunately I can't divulge much more than that. Other than to say, while overall I did enjoy it, there were many instances during the film where I was making that shrugging motion with my arms that I cannot do safely while driving a car. I'm also very tired. I was doing that in the car to myself. Please don't tell my therapist. So, cup-wise, this is going to seem harsh. It is still a positive review. 3 out of 5 cups. And like I said, the reason being is the way it stretched credulity was to be less human than other situations where we've seen even bigger stuff happen, and yet we don't lose sight of the people's emotions. And I think it's important to make it feel organic and not, like I said, where somebody goes, oh, this is the point where I can act like I'm not cardboard. Let's not do that. Let's stop doing that. So 3 out of 5 cups. Should you see it? Well, yeah, you should. If you're a fan of the MCU, regardless of how you wind up feeling about the film. And as always, this is just my opinion. I want you to go out, see the film safely, however you can, however you feel safe doing it. I want you to go out, see the film for yourself, weigh what you've seen, and come to the same conclusion on your own. But should you see it? Yes. I'm sure there are lots of things that are going to be ahead in the next 78 films that are going to pivot on what we saw in this film tonight. What I saw in this film and have mostly not talked about tonight. So yeah. And as always, if you do that, please do so safely. So that's it. That's the Wayhomer. I'm sorry I could not be more specific. Again, catch me online somewhere and I will probably be absolutely happy to talk for so long that you will regret asking me. But yes, thanks so much for watching these. If you enjoy it, please, please, if you're on YouTube, like this thing, subscribe. I understand that's what all the kids do. If you're on Facebook, like this thing, share it. Share it with a total stranger, because you're supposed to share it with your friends. So yes, come to neatcoffee.com, where we have additionally other stuff like this that is less vague, and we'll go from there. Oh yes, also, not a paid placement. I'm sure I'll put the word somewhere important. If you go to neatcoffee.com/Amazon when you need to shop at Amazon, you wind up at the front page of Amazon, just like you've gone to the front page of Amazon, because you have, in fact, gone to the front page of Amazon. And anything you buy during that session that you're there, being the good capitalist that you are, we get kickbacks for it. Doesn't matter how big it is, doesn't matter how small it is. I can't get into how they decide how much they're going to give you, because it's math, and that will make me drive off the road. But just trust me, you help no matter what you're doing. And for those of you that do that, because I can see you doing it anonymously, don't know who it was, but whoever it was, thank you. Thank you. So that'll do it for now, and we'll see you next time on either in this car or on the couch, or I don't know, probably, what I would do is, if I had one of those like giant James Michener like miniseries, I could start reviewing it from the couch, get in the car, go pick up a pizza, and then come back and then finish the review on the couch with a pizza. I could review like Lonesome Dove or something. Kids, ask your parents. I can't go into that right now. Like I said, as soon as I get into the garage, I gotta pee. Once I get inside to a restroom, then I will pee. Anyway, I'm very tired. Thanks. Bye. Okay, one last thing that just occurred to me. And I'm pretty sure this showed up in a trailer or something, so this is probably not technically a spoiler, even if you haven't seen the film. I'm sure you know this is going to come into play somewhere, but if you do have a third eye, right? And I don't mean that in a rude way, I mean a third eye in the middle of your forehead that opens up. Is there some kind of way you can get a matching contact lens for that, or is that a replacement? Can you do a replacement for bifocals where you have different powers of lens here and one up here? I might need bifocals soon, so I need to look into that. Third Eye, thirdeyecontacts.com.